So as many of you guys know, Playboi Carti does have a new label called Young Vamp Life, aka YVL, right? He's been really, I wouldn't say pushing it, but kind of, slowly making it apparent that Carti has a new label / more so like collective. He's been signing new talent. Opium is kind of its own thing. Opium is opium. And it seems like as of late, Carti's really trying to get something going. It's been pretty quiet for the most part, but we've been slowly kind of seeing hints and pieces of this like new YVL collective / label within 2025 so far, right? All we really know is that Apollo Red and Sheila Michi are these signees, but I'd say like in the last week or so, we've been really seeing Carti co-sign a lot of talent within the underground, more so specifically from the ATL underground, right? And if you guys have been seeing, Carti's recent performances at the Weeknd's tour, then you guys have been seeing he's been co-signing a lot of new talent and bringing up a lot of underground artists, not really a lot, but more so like 2 underground artists on stage with them at the Weeknd's tour, right? And that stood out to a lot of people. They're both ATL underground artists, and like I said in my last video, you just randomly just don't pop up on Carti's stage for no reason, right? If you're on Playboi Carti's stage, especially at a stadium tour, it's definitely 1000% for a reason. So a lot of people are speculating if Tana could be the newest signee to YVL, because he was really like the first, underground artist Carti brought on stage. Everybody was like, whoa, what is this? How did Tana get on stage? This is lit. YVL Tana, is that a thing? And then I would say like around the weekend, we seen Bktherula start kicking it with Carti. Carti's posting her on Instagram, bringing her on stage. She said she's YVL. Could she be the newest signee to Carti's new YVL label? Let's talk about it. So as you guys can see right here, Carti actually posted this on his story the other day, August 22nd, 2025. He posted on his story, obviously with Geo, that makes sense. But then we seen Bktherula out of nowhere. Nobody really expected Carti x BK to really go down, right? So we're like, okay, Carti x BK, that's pretty interesting. What could stem from that? Is she gonna be the new YVL signee? It does make sense, but let's just keep an eye on it, right? And then we seen 2 days later on the 24th, 22nd, 24th, Carti brings her on stage at the stadium tour. I don't know what city it's in, but it's a different city. You can tell from the fit Carti's wearing right here to this, right? So she was at 2 different dates for Carti's tour. And like I said, you don't randomly just like spawn on a Carti stage, especially on a stadium tour, right? You just don't randomly walk in a stadium like, yo, I'm trying to get on stage. It just doesn't happen. If you're on stage with Playboi Carti, it is definitely 1000% for a reason, and she's just like chilling on the stage. And like I said, this isn't the first time we seen Carti do that. We seen the first artist be Tana. This was 21st, and then the next day he was flicking up with BK, brought her on stage. So we seen Bktherula alongside Tana. Carti brought them on stage, and I feel like that could only mean one thing, and that's with them like maybe joining YVL, them being the next potential YVL signees, right? So we're like, okay, Tana, BK, I wonder what that could mean, right? And then the 25th, this was the day after she was on stage with Carti. She goes to Twitter talking about, anyways, #level, #YVL, I'm queen, never princess. I'm Rula Santana the first. So everybody was like, yo, she just said she's YVL. Does this pretty much right here, like stamp it? We seen obviously Apollo Red is the first signee. We know Sheila Michi is YVL as well. We seen Tana, kind of be pretty quiet following him on stage. He didn't really say anything. But we got Bktherula just straight up claiming #YVL. And then to pretty much put like, I guess the cherry on top, we seen Apollo Red quote tweeted talking about YVL new era, it's us. So I'm saying it's pretty safe to say that Bktherula is like the next official YVL signee, and it looks like they have 3 people like confirmed for YVL so far, right? If Apollo Red is quote tweeting it talking about it's us, YVL new era, pretty sure she's in YVL now. I don't really know how like the paperwork goes down in terms of like contracts and stuff. Last night we were checking, she signed to, I believe, Atlantic or Warner, something like that. She signed to a major, so I don't really know how that's gonna go down, but I'm feeling like low key from the looks of it, I'm guessing YVL is more so like a community / collective. I don't really think it's official. Like I said, Bktherula, she's already signed to a major. That was one thing a lot of people were pointing out within the last video we made about Tana, right? I'm pretty sure Tana is still signed to Galactic, so I don't really know how the paperwork's going down, but from the looks of it, with Carti just like kind of co-signing artists, bringing them on stage, it looks like Carti wants to build like a community, wants to build a collective, really just wants to co-sign a lot of like the new up and coming talent. And what I've noticed from BK, Paulo Red, Sheila Michi, Tana, is that they're all ATL artists, right? And like I said in my last video about Tana, right, we've seen Bktherula been pretty tapped in with the Opium camp for a pretty big minute now, right? She dropped this song Forever Part 2, Jezebel with Lone. This was actually a banger. This was a really, really good song, right? And then we seen her obviously with like Ken Carson right here, and then right here. So she's obviously been around the opium camp for quite some time now, right? Same thing we said with Tana, right? She's been very active within like the Atlanta underground scene. I'd say like maybe since 2020. That's really when I caught on to BK. I'd say around like summer 2020 is when Bktherula caught my eye, and I'm like, yo, she's hard. And like I said the other day about Tana, I think BK is another one of those like match made in heaven pickups for the YVL label, right? Like I said, she's been around opium, she's from Atlanta, she's been in the scene, she's very established. I think she's at like 1.5 million monthly. She already came up by herself, she has a loyal fan base, everybody pretty much rocks with BK. She's obviously talented, and she's a female artist. That's like the perfect match made in heaven, probably more than Tana, in my opinion, getting Bktherula in YVL, right? Because obviously you got a duo with Homicide Gang, you got solo acts like Ken and Lone, then you get a female artist who's actually hard, Bktherula, throw her in the mix. It really don't get better than that in my opinion. I think this would really work. But that's really the kind of vibes I'm getting from this like whole YVL type thing with Carti and the new ATL underground that he's been really pushing this like past maybe like week or two. And I'm not gonna lie, if he's gonna do any artist next, y'all know who it's gotta be. One person only, and it's gotta be Until Japan, right? We already seen Lone, he rocks with Until Japan. I think Until Japan could be like, I think that's the match made in heaven. Perfect pick for YVL, right? Because one, Japan's aesthetic perfectly matches like the opium type swag. Obviously he's talented. I think he's the best artist within the underground. I think he's personally the #1 best pick within the underground, and of course he's from Atlanta, so it makes sense. Lone already co-signed him. Let's see if Carti does it. If he does that, he's gonna go 3 for 3. BK, Tana, Until Japan, Apollo Red, Sheila's Michi. If he has those 5, I think that's a very solid 5-piece for the YVL. But this is pretty much everything we know about Carti's YVL label so far, and with Carti co-signing Bktherula as of what, 2 to 3 days ago. Let's see, like only time will tell. Let's see how this YVL type thing really goes down. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys like this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's MONEYMAY, and I'm out. Thank you guys.